Hello, my friend. Welcome back. So, today I thought we would do a little chat about movies. I most of what I watch is Korean dramas, as some of you might know, but I also really like movies, and so I wanted to just recommend some of my favorite movies, and just movies I've liked, movies I've seen. So, the way I've done this is I have a list separated by category. So there's 4 categories here. I have happy, comedy, and coming of age, just more positive themed. Then I have drama. Drama's some sort of coming of age within that, but those are more on the dramatic / sad side. Then I have horror and thriller, and then I have animated. So I'll just get started. I think what I'll do is, obviously I'll talk about the movies, but I might, for some of them at least, pull up the synopsis on my computer, so that I have a more accurate description, if it's been a while since I saw it. So I guess, why don't we start with the happy, comedy, and coming of age. So the first one I have is my favorite movie. It's Juno, which is a 2007 film starring Elliot Page and Michael Cera. It's about a 16-year-old girl who gets pregnant, and she has to figure out what to do from there. It also has Jennifer Garner, Jason Bateman, and J.K. Simmons. I'm not like a huge movie, I don't know a lot about actors and things like that, so I'm only saying the actors when I know that people know who I'm talking about. Yeah, it's really funny. It's hilarious. That's why I like it, and just really weird too. Let's see. So the synopsis says, when precocious teen Juno McGuff becomes pregnant, she chooses a failed rock star and his wife to adopt her unborn child. I feel like this synopsis has spoilers. That's always my issue with summaries, that I'm like, that spoils it. But I think that's all you need to know. Hilarity ensues. It's great. I really recommend it. Like I said, 2007, so the next movie I have is called Captain Fantastic, and that one is filmed released in 2016. Viggo Mortensen is the star. It's about a dad who, his wife has, he and his wife decided to raise their kids in the wilderness, teaching them survival skills, but also they're incredibly smart. They know advanced level science, philosophy, they're really well read. So basically they're super children, but they're cut off from the whole world. But the dad has been raising them on his own because the mother has bipolar disorder. She dies at the beginning of the movie, and the movie is about the family trying to go to the funeral. So, and it's also really hilarious. Kind of in a similar way, kids put into situations that seem over their heads. So yeah, that one is also one of my favorite movies, so I really recommend it. It was on Netflix, but both of these were on Netflix, but of course, they're not anymore, so. Okay, the next one is called The Edge of 17, and that one is also released in 2016. So let me just pull up the synopsis of that one. Everyone knows that growing up is hard, and life is no easier for high school junior Nadine, who is already at peak awkwardness when her all-star older brother, Darian, starts dating her best friend. Yeah, so it's really hilarious. Obviously, I guess it's in the happy comedy section of my reviews. Another sarcastic, funny teenager. And it has Woody Harrelson plays a sarcastic teacher. So that one's really funny, and I recommend it in that sort of coming of age, but also comedy category. Next on the list is Booksmart, which was released in 2019. So that one is about two girls who in high school were very nerdy and didn't party or anything. They just studied really hard, and they come to learn that all of their classmates who they look down on for partying also got into really good schools, and so they realize that they want to go to a party, because if the other people could study and party, why can't we? So it's really funny. It's just the two best friends. Their friendship, to me, is what makes the movie really great. They just have a lot of they have great platonic chemistry, so I think it's really fun to watch, and it's freaking hilarious. I don't know. I recommend you watch it. So yeah, Booksmart 2019 is what that one is. And also a really good soundtrack. It's bumping. It's super good. Okay, next on my list is, you might have heard of this one. I suppose you could have heard of any of these. Little Miss Sunshine. It's definitely a more well-known movie. That one was released in 2006. So this one also has a really nice soundtrack. Follows a very dysfunctional family. The uncle is released from the hospital after a suicide attempt. The grandpa is addicted to drugs. The child, well, there's two children, and it centers around the youngest child. And she really wants to be in a pageant, like a beauty pageant. And so the whole family kind of has to, they all get in one of those camper vans, those little camper vans, and have to go to the pageant and somehow get along. So it's a little bit on the edge between drama, because there are more darker themes, I guess, but overall happy, feel-good comedy family, even though it's not a family movie per se. So that one's Little Miss Sunshine. The next on my list is called Everything Everywhere All at Once. This one was 2022, so you might have heard about it or seen a poster at the theaters. This one is really great. It's kind of one of those things where it's the less you know about it going in, the better. But basically, it's I would describe it as a kung fu multi-dimensional travel movie, universe travel movie, the multiverse, that kind of thing. With at its core topics about family. So lots of really cool choreographed fight scenes, amazing costumes, animation, set design. It's so colorful. It's really cool to watch, and while you're watching it, and it's super cool in all these fight scenes, you also feel a connection to the characters. So I really recommend that one. And the main actress who plays Joy is the teenage girl of the family. Let's see, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Stephanie Sue. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this was her debut role, and her audition went viral because she's just such a great actress. So really recommend this one. It's a bit long, if I recall, so definitely have some snacks, but yeah, everything everywhere all at once. And then the last one I have in this section of like happy comedy is Knives Out. 2019 is when that one was released. And you might have heard of Knives Out because last year a sequel came out, The Glass Onion, but I didn't really like that one as much, so I'm speaking about the first one in particular. It's a modern comedic spin on like Clue and like the classic murder mystery style of writing. So basically a family gets together. Let's see, it's been a little bit since I've seen that one. Let's see what old Google has to say. The circumstances surrounding the death of a crime novelist are mysterious, but there's one thing that renowned detective Benoit Blanc knows for sure. Everyone in the wildly dysfunctional Thromby family is a suspect. So, of course, it's like everyone's a suspect of this murder, and the murderer, the victim, happens to be a crime novelist. So, it's really funny and clever. So, that one's Knives Out. Okay, so moving on to dramas. The first one I have on my list is one I highly, highly recommend, is Whiplash, which was released in 2014. It has J.K. Simmons in it. I really like he's a great actor. It's about a music school and a kid who really wants to become the best jazz drummer in the whole world. So, and a teacher who will go to any length to make that happen, basically. So, it's intense. It's really intense. If you've ever seen a trailer for it, it was nominated for an Oscar in 2015. And if you've seen any of the trailers, you can tell that it's very intense, but it's really satisfying, I think. It's really intriguing. It's not like labeled as a thriller or anything, but it has some sort of thriller elements. So if you like that, but it's not like scary. Obviously, there's nothing like scary in it. It's just kind of can be intense, but yeah, great music. Very minimal like set design or anything like that. Few characters, but the acting is like superb. So that's basically why I recommend it. So that one's called Whiplash. The next one is called To Live. This one was released in 1994. It's actually a Chinese film, and I know it's available for free on YouTube. It's about a Chinese family, basically throughout the stages of the Great Leap Forward in China, and kind of the way their life changes. So it's a little bit hard to explain what it's about. I think it's based on a novel. Okay, I'm not sure I'll pronounce the names right, but Fuquay's gambling leads him to lose everything, including his wife and his home. For the following decades, he struggles to live as a peasant. He tries joining a theater troupe, enlists in the army. So yeah, it's about the family and struggles, and there's really funny parts and really sad parts, definitely parts that will make you cry. But what I like about it is like the humanity in it. You really see like people shining through, if that makes any sense. So that one's called To Live, and I really recommend it also because it's free on YouTube, so you don't need any sort of streaming service to watch it. And I don't even think it has ads in it at all, so yeah, go and watch that. The next one I have is called A Promising Young Woman, and that one was released in 2020. Carey Mulligan and Bo Burnham. Bo Burnham's a comedian. Carey Mulligan was in The Great Gatsby and a newer Oscar nominee. Promising Young Woman is a drama, obviously. It has intense topics, so beware. Look into obviously ahead of time if you are sensitive to certain topics or whatever. But it's also happens to be funny. It's like a thriller, a comedy, and like a very intense drama. So basically, it's about a young woman whose friend died, and she is sort of out for revenge. That's how I'll put it. It's a really beautiful set and great acting. Set and costumes, just lots of colors, and every shot is really like well set up, very beautiful. Lots of great colors, and the soundtrack also very good. So that one's A Promising Young Woman. Okay, the next one is The Trial of the Chicago 7, which is a 2020 film. Let me just look that one up because I'm not sure I remember it that well. This one's based on a true story, by the way. The film is based on the infamous 1969 trial of 7 defendants charged by the federal government with conspiracy and more, arising from the counterculture protests in Chicago at the 1968 Democratic National Convention. So, basically, I also really like things that are about that time period, things related to like Vietnam, things like that, counterculture. So, but it's really well done. The acting, it has, Sacha Baron Cohen, Eddie Redmayne. So it's really powerful, hilarious, and based on a true story, so you learn things as well. So yeah, that one's The Trial of the Chicago 7. So next is Call Me By Your Name, which was released in 2017. This one's based on a book, which I have reviewed because it's one of my favorite books. But yeah, so the story is about a teenage boy, basically, in the 1980s in the summer in Italy. And his parents invite his father is a professor, and they invite some other scholar for the summer to work on a book. And it's a romance between this scholar and the son of the professor. So it's what I like about the movie. What I like about the book is that you get an insight into like his mind, the Elio, the son. But what I like about the movie is how beautiful it is. The soundtrack is really gorgeous. The shots are really gorgeous. So that one is a really beautiful, really beautiful. So that one's Call Me By Your Name. Next one I have is The Danish Girl. I believe this one is also based on a true story, and it has an actor I really like, who is Eddie Redmayne, who's also in Trial of the Chicago 7, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I haven't seen that one. Theory of Everything, he plays Stephen Hawking. Okay, The Danish Girl. So this one's 2015. I don't remember if I mentioned that. I think, okay, no. It's the story is fake. It has some relation to real life. With support of his loving wife, Gerda, artist Einar prepares to undergo one of the first sex change operations. So, it takes place in, I'm not sure. It takes place in a time where, obviously, the first sex change operation. So it takes place in a time where being trans or LGBT was not accepted. So obviously it's more bittersweet. It's not maybe a story that you'll see nowadays. It's, yeah, bittersweet, sad, but it's really beautiful. Great actors. So that one, I really recommend that one. The Danish Girl. Okay. Then Moonlight. I guess I have like kind of all three LGBT themed picks in a row. Moonlight was released in 2016, and I just put Moonlight, and this one is incredibly beautiful. It's split into three sections. What is the Chiron? So Chiron is the main character. He is a young black man growing up in Miami. It starts with him as a young child, then as an older teenager, and then as an adult man. And it's about, it's intense, obviously. It's dark. Not dark, I would say, but intense. Bittersweet. It's about family, growing up, what masculinity means. So I really recommend that one. I think that one was Oscar nominated as well. No, it was an Oscar winner. I think it won the Oscars in 2016, 2017. Okay, next I have Life of Pi, which I'm sure you've heard of. The book is really incredible. The movie is, some people have issues with the movie, and I will say, if you've read the book, the movie is not as good. But it is beautiful, and especially for where like CGI and all that was at the time, 2012. It's really great. And so it's a beautiful film with lovely shots, amazing colors, really well framed shots, and basically one actor the whole movie, essentially, but does a really good job. So that one's Life of Pi. Okay, another movie that takes place in India, or stars in Indians. I guess Life of Pi mostly takes place in the ocean, not India. But the next movie, this movie is amazing. Please watch it. It's one of my favorites. It's called Super Deluxe. It was released in 2019, and I do believe if you have Netflix, it is on there. Last I checked, that was like last year. It's a really long movie, and it follows, I believe, 3 stories. I'm gonna pull up the synopsis on this one too. Super Deluxe. I almost forgot what I was talking about. Okay. An unfaithful wife, an angry boy, and a transgender woman must all face their demons on one fateful day in a city of contradictions. It's hilarious. It has parts that's intense, hilarious. It basically covers every sort of genre. Really beautiful. As it takes place in India, there's a lot of like art and nature that sort of come together. And what's really unique about this movie is that it follows those 3 separate storylines, and they all intertwine somehow. And it really makes you like, it's like, I don't know. I won't say the less you know going in, the better, but it kind of is that way where you'll, it takes you on a journey. It's a journey, so. But I think that description was really good. Okay, so that's all I have for drama. Next, I have horror and thriller, and then animated. So if I'm gonna go with animated first, so that way you can click off if you aren't into horror and thriller, because I understand. So for animated, I have 3. I have Zootopia, 2016. So that one is really great. It's great animation. It's about a rabbit So obviously it's like a family movie, but I mean, who cares, right? Like, watch it with your kids or not. Like, I would watch it. I've watched it like 4 times. Rabbit Who Wants to Be a Cop in the City of Zootopia. And her struggles with, I guess, speciesism, which can be taken as an allegory for lots of things in the world today. People have taken it as a metaphor for racism, sexism, xenophobia. Take it as you will. It's enjoyable without ascribing any of that to it, but there are also more applicable messages within it as well. And it's hilarious. So that one's Zootopia. The Lego Movie. So bear with me, as silly as the Lego Movie seems. I think it's funny. I mean, it's just entertaining. It's a feel-good movie. Watch with family, but I watched it most recently on my own as an adult. So that one is 2014. I just think it's very creative. And if you're feeling, childish in a moment, I think it's a great movie. So don't knock it till you've watched it, I guess. And then the last one I haven't animated is Spirited Away. I want to pull up the description. It's really beautifully animated. The art is incredible, so that's why you would watch it first and foremost. In this animated feature by noted Japanese director Miyazaki, 10-year-old Chihiro and her parents stumble upon a seemingly abandoned amusement park after her mother and father are turned into giant pigs. Chihiro so basically she enters a bathhouse for supernatural beings. So I don't know if you've seen the popular character No Face. That's what that's from. So Spirited Away. And any Miyazaki movie, My Neighbor Totoro, Ponyo, those are all really beautiful. So yeah. Okay, so lastly, you can click off now if you're not a fan. I won't be too graphic with the horror and thriller. I'll just give the basic rundown. I'm not gonna really try to scare anyone. So the first one I have is 3 movies, but the movies directed by Jordan Peele are really great. So there's Get Out 2017, Us 2019, and Nope 2022. So Get Out is they're all like horror thriller, but Get Out is like horror thriller, social commentary. Us is, I would say, pure horror thriller, but very creative and different than any thriller I've seen. And Nope is sci-fi thriller, so less horror, more thriller. But and all of those I would really recommend. Get Out is definitely the best in my opinion, but yeah, I really recommend those. Okay, so next on my list is The Menu, 2022. This one's a goofy one. So I went into it thinking it was purely horror, but it's actually a satire. It's horror satire, so it is scary. So obviously, if you don't like horror, I wouldn't recommend it, but it's satirical horror, and it has Anya Taylor-Joy from The Queen's Gambit. So it's really, it's interesting. I'm not gonna say it's not good, but it's strange. It's strange. You'll have to judge for yourself. Okay, next is this one. Gotta be top of the list. Oscar nominee. I don't remember if it was an Oscar winner. I think it was. Anyways, you can tell me in the comments. Parasite 2019. So this is director Bong Joon-ho. He's really, really good. A really great director. Every shot is artistic. It's just a really, really good movie. I don't know what else there is to say. I can pull up the synopsis. Creed and class discrimination threaten the newly formed symbiotic relationship between the wealthy Park family and the destitute Kim clan. So, that doesn't give you much of an explanation, but it's sort of like a must-watch. I hate when people say, "Oh, you have to watch that," but I'll put it this way: I think it's worth your while. Okay, then we have Burning 2018. This has Steven Yeun in it from a lot of things, actually. He's in The Walking Dead. He's in Nope, the Jordan Peele film. It's about, this one's I guess, a thriller. It's also just weird. It's like an indie thriller. Jong-soo runs into Hae-mi, a girl who once lived in his neighborhood, and she asks him to watch her cat while she's out of town. When she returns, she introduces him to Ben, a man she met on the trip. Ben proceeds to tell Jong-soo about his hobby. So, spooky. Okay, so, yeah, that one's Burning, 2018. And then I have two more. There's Ganjiam Haunted Asylum. This one is it's Korean. I should have mentioned that let's see. Some of these are subbed. So Burning, Parasite, Ganjiam Asylum, To Live, those are all subtitled. I don't know if dub is available, but I always watch subtitles. I just know some people prefer not to read when they're watching a movie. Okay, so Ganjiam Haunted Asylum 2018 is a Korean film, horror film, sort of like Blair Witch Project. I haven't seen that, but in the shaky camera style, like personal camera style. In fact, the entire film is shot on iPhone. Similar vibe thing, but very scary. It's very scary, actually. So that's the only reason I'm recommending it. Well, obviously it's a good movie, but it's not like also having a good soundtrack or like, I'm not really, it's good for the fear factor. It does horror well, so I'll put it that way. So if you're looking for a good scare, Ganjiam Haunted Asylum, and then the last movie I have on the list is called #Alive. This one is on Netflix, and I believe it's a Netflix original, 2020. Typical zombie movie, also Korean, but I just thought it was done really well. There's multiple times you're just like, you really don't know what's gonna happen. And some like less typical takes on the zombie trope. So that one's #Alive. So yeah. And just to recap, I guess, to give final thoughts on the matter, the ones that are really my favorites in here that I super recommend are Juno, Captain Fantastic, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Whiplash, Super Deluxe, and Parasite. So I think those will all be worth your while to watch. So yeah, those are some movies. I would love to hear in the comments your favorite movies, movie recommendations for me, especially if you think they'll match my taste in movies here. So that, or please let me know what you thought of these movies if you saw them. So if you dislike them, I would love to hear why. So yeah. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next week. Bye.